Hello and welcome to the Chiaroscuro Jazz Podcasts. I'm George Graham, Director of Artistry and Repertoire for the Venerable Jazz label, celebrating our 50th anniversary and featuring over 100 titles by some of the world's great jazz musicians. This time we feature one of the most durable and multifaceted jazz artists who was recorded for Chiaroscuro, saxophonist Lee Konitz, whose musical career spanned from 1945 until his passing in 2020 at the age of 92. He recorded well over 100 albums as a leader, and his musical associations include generations of leading jazz musicians, including Charlie Parker, Stan Getz, and Miles Davis, up to rocker Elvis Costello. Born into an immigrant family in Chicago, Lee Konitz developed an early interest in music, inspired by recordings by Benny Goodman. He received his first clarinet at age 11 and began his professional career in 1945. The next year, he met influential pianist and composer Lenny Tristano. In 1947, he worked with the Claude Thornhill Orchestra with arrangements by Jerry Mulligan and Gil Evans. Then in 1949 and 1950, he was part of one of the most influential series of recording sessions of that era, Miles Davis's Birth of the Cool. It was a distinctive nonet format. Konitz was the last surviving member of those Birth of the Cool sessions. During the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, he continued to record prolifically with such associates as Elvin Jones, Dave Brubeck, and Ornette Coleman. Lee Konitz recorded 2 albums for Chiaroscuro in 1977, a quintet and a nonet. Though the 9-piece band was the same size as the Kind of Blues sessions, the sound is quite different. Here from the Lee Konitz Nonet album on Chiaroscuro is the band's arrangement of one of the best-known compositions by bebop innovator Tadd Dameron, If You Could See Me Now. Lee Konitz with If You Could See Me Now from the 1977 Chiaroscuro recording, Lee Konitz Nonet. One of the distinctive features of many of Chiaroscuro's CDs is the Jazz Speak track, in which the artists talk about their music in their own words. Here's Lee Konitz on the Nonet session and the genesis of the group.
I had thought at some point that this would be an opportunity for me to do some writing, some arranging that I hadn't done too much of before. And I spoke with Jimmy Knepper and with David Berger. David is a Duke Ellington scholar who was conducting Wynton Marsalis at Lincoln Center Band for a long time. And actually David was responsible for suggesting the instrumentation. And there was a club across the street from where I live on 86th Street called Strikers. And the band worked there for 1 or 2 nights a week for about a year or a year and a half. And this is a way that you can build a band by meeting every week. No one was paid too much, cab fare maybe, or for drinks. And people look forward to playing, and some people never missed those nights. Jimmy Knepper, for one, unless it was a great gig. And writers volunteered to contribute music to the band. I wrote some things, not as much as I was hoping to, but Cy Johnson was one of the main people. He has a facility of writing fast and well, and coming in and rehearsing the music and taking it home and bringing it back the next time all corrected. And Jimmy Knepper wrote some things, and David Berger and Ronnie Cuba and Kenny Berger. And it was a very nice experience for everyone. The configuration of the band, as you might have heard, is 2 trumpets, doubling flugelhorns, 2 trombones, 1 doubling bass trombone, Sam Burtis played the bass trombone sometimes, and 2 saxophones, baritone and me playing soprano and the alto, and 3 rhythm. At some point I thought of adding a tenor to have more of a saxophone section, but I enjoyed this kind of unusual ensemble and the power of the brass section to give it the big band kind of feeling and still retain basically a small band philosophy.
Now here's more from the Lee Konitz Nonet with their arrangement of John Coltrane's Giant Steps. The Lee Konitz Nonette with Sometimes I'm Happy, and before that, John Coltrane's Giant Steps. Lee Konitz could probably be described as a musically restless soul, constantly exploring new styles and different configurations, ranging from swing to bebop to cool jazz to avant-garde. So this Nonette configuration did not last long. Here again is Lee Konitz.
Because of the lack of pay, I thought it was a great opportunity to give everyone a chance to really stretch out and play. That's what they wanted to do after playing the arrangements, play some extended solos. So that was fine. Then I realized one night that I was sitting most of the time listening to everybody else play, and given my druthers, I'd prefer to play myself. So that's one of the other reasons why I gave up the band. The other reason was getting 8 answering machines every time I called for a rehearsal or a job.
As mentioned earlier, Konitz's musical interests were very wide, and included on the Nonette album is a piece by one of jazz's great pioneers, Louis Armstrong, Struttin' with Some Barbecue. the Lee Konitz Nonet from the Chiaroscuro album of the same name, with an original by Lee Konitz called Fourth Dimension. And before that, the Louis Armstrong classic, Struttin' with Some Barbecue. The personnel includes Lee Konitz on alto and soprano sax, Ronnie Kuber on baritone, Bert Collins and John Eckert on trumpets, Jimmy Knepper on trombone, Sam Burtis on bass trombone and tuba, Ben Aronoff on piano, Nabi Toda on bass, and Kenny Washington on drums. The album was recorded in New York in 1977, produced by Hank O'Neill, and is available on Chiaroscuro. You can find the Lee Konitz Nonet and many other Chiaroscuro releases on our website at chiaroscurojazz.org, where you can find a searchable database of the artists and music on the label. The music is available on CD, as a download, and streaming on Spotify. And you can listen to continuous jazz from the over 100 albums available on Chiaroscuro 24 hours a day on the Chiaroscuro channel, available on the new and improved Chiaroscuro website. This is George Graham. Thanks for listening to this Chiaroscuro podcast, and join us next time for more music from great jazz artists.